That's a great approach, because I can choose. If I want to buy a new truck, replace my good old 2006 Ram 2500 Hemi out there, if I want to buy a new truck, then I'll pay the tax. If I want to buy a used truck, then I won't pay the tax. It's already been paid once. The truck will be cheaper in original production because they're not going to charge the Dodge in this case for the original parts that you build the truck with, the clutch parts, the lug nuts, and there won't be a tax on that, taxing up the sales. So there are two good proposals out there. I support either. Any way we can get away from this abusive, unfair, I would call it a regressive tax, as it were, because it hits all of us so bad. You know, even the most unable to pay the tax are hurt, because when you frustrate the taxpayers out there and the businesses, you get less jobs. And there's less opportunity for people to get ahead. And right now we've seen a widening of the gap between the wealthy, well, it's a vanishing middle class, what we're doing now. When you hear the poverty statistics that come out, more people at the poverty level now than in the last 15, 20 years. And yet, more government. So,
how do you plan to combat inflation?
Combat inflation by letting the economy grow. And you let the economy grow by getting government out of the way as much as possible. You take the hurdles out of the way, and you have a growth. Let me use a personal example. Here in Michigan, in the 1980s, we taxed the new income tax. We put other taxes and fees on, supposedly to pay off a $1.8 billion budget deficit that came from the Milliken administration prior to that. Jim Blanchard came in. I was in the legislature at the time, and I was in for all of his 8 years. And he increased the taxes, and we ended up, when he was booted out of office by John Engler, we had a $1.8 billion budget deficit, higher taxes, and we had a falling economic rating. Our bond rating was falling, and we had businesses leaving the state. When Engler came in, and he and myself and a number of others, including Bill Martin, who represented this area at that time, began to fight to reduce government. We cut taxes 26 times, including property tax, income tax, business taxes. We restructured government. I was chairing the General Government Subcommittee on Appropriations that had 9 of the 18 Department of States in it. We cut it each of the 2 years that I had that budget. Actual cut, not just a cut from what we wanted to increase it. It was an actual cut. And we saw our bond rating go to AAA bond rating. We paid off the $1.8 billion budget deficit by 1996. We had a rainy day fund and a surplus. And our bond rating, when I left office in January 1999, we had a AAA bond rating. Jobs coming back to the state. And we had an unemployment rate under 6%. That's what happens when you deal with it by removing government and the hurdles that we put unnecessarily in the way. There has to be some regulation. We all accept that. There has to be some taxation to cover the basic services. But we've gone way beyond. That's how we deal with it. Yes, and then yes.
Are we really going to be able to recover until housing recovers? I mean, an example, if I use my son-in-law and daughter, they bought a house when, in my opinion, were valued more than they were worth. Now their house is valued less than they owe.
Yeah.
They can't get help from their mortgage company because they're not in imminent danger of losing their home. They can't get help from any other mortgage company because they're not a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac that gets all the government money. And they can't sell the house because somebody can go out right now and buy a house equal to theirs that's got foreclosed somewhere else for half the value. How do we attack that? I mean, how do we recover until we take care of that?
It'll take time. It'll take time. You're absolutely right. There are other things, not only that, but there's the whole idea of the banks not having any certainty of what the policy is going to be. So the good banks are actually holding back and saying, hey, you know, we got in trouble once by the government telling us we had to loan to people who couldn't afford a house because they felt everybody ought to have a house. Not like Tim Walberg when he bought his house back in 1978. Still lives in it to this day. I'm glad I do. It's not underwater for what I paid for it, but they made me pay 20% down. They said, we'd love to have you be a homeowner, we'd love to have you in the community, but you're gonna pay 20% down. Well, we had to, by hook or by crook, basically by creative financing, go to their family and help from my employer. We got that 20%, paid it down, and I'm sure the bank knew that that's how we were doing it. But it was a discipline to my wife and myself that we had to get that paid off and then keep on paying our mortgage. And to this day, we've done it. And I think that's how it's going to have to be. But until the economy, there's a confidence in the economy, we won't see a turnaround. But if we see a turnaround, I think your families, your kids' home value is going to go up automatically as a result of, happy days are here again. We have some certainty. But we're going to have to go through some pain in order to get the gain. I'm sure Mark Schauer would like to use that quote, Walberg's offering you pain for gain. But I think the majority of people in this district understand that we're not just going to waltz out of this. We have been in trouble. We are in trouble, and we will be in trouble until we do the right thing. But ultimately, the right thing will bring about healing far faster. I wouldn't say far faster. I'd say it will bring about healing, whereas what we're doing now will continue to frustrate us and put us further in a hole and further in subservience to the government. If Barney Frank and Chris Dodd would have accepted President Bush's request back in 2006, when he said to them, we're going to have a meltdown. This Community Reinvestment Act, the subprime lending, Freddie, Fannie, the lack of regulation on them, if that isn't changed soon, we're going to melt down. They said, no problem. Everybody needs a home. It's working well. Well, we saw what happened. And truly, you're right. It was the real estate industry that was the ultimate crasher that brought us there.